Hello, I'm Dori Nando. You can catch up with all the fun on the Cosmopolitan Mix and on all our shows via podcast. Just go to My Joy Online podcast and search for your favorite show and relive those moments all over again. Only on Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Good morning and welcome to AM News. Now, on our first story, former President John Dramani Mahama is asking traditional authorities to speak out against wrongs perpetrated by people in government. Mr. Mahama has been visiting the Bono East region as part of his thank you tour and has been meeting members of the Bono East Regional House of Chiefs in Techiman. Anas Sabit has a wrap of the former president's visit.
Former President John Dramani Mahama began his tour of the Bono East region with a meeting with the Council of Zongo Chiefs and Imams at the Techiman Central Mosque, where he thanked the Muslim community for the overwhelming support in the December polls.
And I say, Adinimu, I say, religion, Yajitum, say, Ubia de Mawa, or Southern Panasi. They themselves are Bono East on Swan. Zongo, I have. Any Zongo for Mokahu and NBC, any one day, our Bono East. It is a Bono East. Now, you find that Sienna the sea, I can for so any man for so. Some of Mama Zongo Pudina, I want a chiman, I want Bono East. Say no, we are my, and no, you this one. Nature said, and I say no, young come to see.
Mr. John Dramani Mahama also had a brief encounter with the Christian community here at the St. Paul's Catholic Church, where he again thanked the church for the prayers before, during and after the polls. From the two major religious groups, Mr. Mahama met the Bono East Regional House of Chiefs. Here, the 2020 NDC flag bearer bemoaned the unfortunate incidents that characterized the elections and emphasized that traditional authorities ought to speak out against wrongs being perpetrated by those in authority.
Your bonnet and your papa. Now, yet to be neutral between good and evil. Say no kind no. You must say, yes, say, now you're not politics. But say, I dare corner bonnet. I was so mokan. If you say, assassin, you're more there. More and I brought for better, more say, more share, yes, so, and son, I brought for the buying by. And I buy for Abbey Edge wa brought for no home. It is still more any Nipano nete. Say, and your man could ye not Nipanete.
President of the Regional House of Chiefs, Pimampim Yao Kakbrese, lauded the former president for seeking redress at the courts and adds that the party would emerge victorious at the appropriate time.
Supreme Court and Koyano, I yes understand. Mantime was it there, the case again, the case you. Na edi basa yo apa enti House of Chiefs police said ya oma paso said aba na sano na body akoda Supreme Court ama mbeli ya umuse wodi upati as your sense of maturity ewo about your emu. Amabeli Yameka said 2024 said all that already in Kudima and so Yamey.
The former president then addressed a gathering of party faithfuls at the Bamri Community Center to climax the visit. Mr. Mahama again emphasized that there was no collation in the Techiman South constituency and asked that the party was cheated in the just ended parliamentary elections.
Consensus will be the one. I was saying already. Now, I buy million before, and you may be your million or and the mass answer to you. Pretty much. And I'm not saying I'm your police. Don't be a police. What about we our police station? We are kind. If you are the showing now of Kratos, not the map party, we have the copy. Now, when the copy is about with your friend collation center, we try to FFU, HIV Electoral Commission, said the months out, no collation took place. And no collation
He again called on party faithfuls to remain united ahead of the 2020 general elections. Reporting for JoyNews, Anas Sabit, Tichima.
Meanwhile, the governing New Patriotic Party says John Mahama's attempts to paint himself as a better manager of Ghana's economy will be fiercely resisted and exposed. A group affiliated to the NDC on Monday held a forum on the country's economy at which former President John Mahama called out government for what he described as their poor handling of the economy and using COVID-19 as an excuse. But General Secretary of the NPP, John Boadu, says President John Mahama and then Finance Minister Setepe's poor record at the helm of affairs is public knowledge. Bismarck Kweku Asante has more in the following report.
At a forum in Accra on Monday, the NDC led by John Mahama and former Finance Minister Setepe took turns to criticize the NPP government for its handling of the economy. According to former President John Mahama, the NPP is using COVID-19 as a convenient excuse for what he describes as their incompetence. But in a sharp rebuttal, General Secretary of the NPP, John Boadu, says John Mahama and his erstwhile government cannot claim to be better managers of the economy.
Former President Mahama and Setepe are on public record as being the worst duo to have ever been in charge of the Ghanaian economy at the same time. This pair is a dangerous pair. Yet in their public forum on the 6th September 2021, this pair sought to create the impression that they had the best of times running this Ghanaian economy.
John Boadu described the tenure of John Mahama as one that marked the downward trend of the economy.
Former President Mahama actively oversaw the worst crisis ever to hit our financial sector and presided over the rot that, if not for Akufo-Addo administration's intervention, will have brought the whole financial sector on its knees.
The NPP chief scribe argued that his party has spent considerable time fixing the alleged mess of the John Mahama government. The NPP says it vehemently disagrees with the former president that COVID-19 has exposed the weakness of the country's economy.
The Akufo-Addo administration has faced the worst ever international crisis in COVID-19, the scourge that has depreciated the worldwide economy and driven debt up generally. President Akufo-Addo has received worldwide commendation for his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, and Ghana is often used as an example for other countries to emulate.
But corruption also featured on the agenda, with the party castigating the former government for signing the botched sip-and-switch deal.
Strangely enough, they've held press conferences upon press conference. He has been speaking on a daily basis. Curiously, he has never touched one of the most gargantuan fraud that was going to be perpetrated on the people of this country. And I must say that it beats our imagination that a program that we cancel, a contract that was given to Simpton Switch Deal Limited, costing $1.2 billion. We canceled the contracts. We used only $4.5 million to execute this program to perfection.
The NPP says it is serving notice it will not allow former President Mahama and the NDC to mislead Ghanaians on the true state of affairs in the country. John Boadu said they will continue to set the record straight on what he says is the sterling management of the country since assuming office in January 2017.
Now, housing agencies are largely unregulated in Ghana, leaving many people in search of houses at the mercy of their high and fluctuating charges. Rent charges are a part of a myriad of problems in the country's housing sector. JoyNews is getting ready for the annual Habitat Fair, a one-stop shop for everything housing. Ahead of that, Justice Beidou spent some time with a housing agent to understand their work.
Eugene Kumsen is a housing agent. He has no office and works from his chamber and hall apartment inside La, a suburb of Accra. He charges 50 cedis for a day, showing people around available houses. And when you have a place to settle on, he takes 10% of the total amount that will be paid to the owner of the property.
50 Ghana, but for somebody to come out by giving you 50 Ghana, some even have been asking, any market share I get 50 Ghana. No, on them, it's part of my work. It's a principle. You have to follow it.
I am following Eugene and one of his clients to see a place he intends to rent out.
It's a real hassle. Almost every day I'll have to be out meeting agents.
Peace Bomasan has recently landed a job in Accra.
Agent fee. They call it, some of them call it viewing fee. Taking you to the place, you have to pay some fees. Some take 50 cedis, others will say 60 or 70. The 2 years will be how much?
She used to live in Wa, the Upper West regional capital, where she says she was paying a tenth of the money she is being asked to pay for a property that is half the size of its former place.
If you should consider the work you do and other things you have to be doing, and then having to be paying this huge amounts of money for rent, it's just so unbelievable.
Some of the accounts used to say that, Asantifo, scan cocoa. You see, for Greater Accra, what cocoa na a dime. Yeah, because everywhere you go in Greater Accra, room is very expensive.
Peace is not alone. With a housing deficit of 1.2 million, thousands of other people like her are out there struggling for a roof over their head. Justice Beidou, JoyNews, Accra.
The older structure on the Bishop Herman College in Bando has developed defects, threatening the existing monument. Since columns holding the corridor have fallen off, while others have suffered cracks, posing danger to the school community. A section of the roof has also been ripped off by a storm. Correspondent Fred Kwame Asare reports.
Bishop Herman College was established in 1952 in the Bando municipality of the Volta region. The giant block, which houses a dormitory, library and box rooms, is one of the oldest structures on the campus. The structure, which accommodates about 300 of the 2,200 student population, is suffering serious defects. A heavy rainfall some months ago ripped off sections of the structure's roofing, forcing the school's management to evacuate the students. This development has gotten old boys of the school worried.
We got a report that a contractor did some re-roofing about 2 years ago, thereabout. But soon after the re-roofing, there was a storm, and part of the roof was ripped off again. And since then, the contractor has not come to site. You can also see that they started some work on some staircases on the flanks of the building. They've not been completed, but they've been left and abandoned. The contractor complains that they've not paid him for earlier works done, and therefore he doesn't have the funds and resources to procure additional material and then come to site. So as it is now, it leaks badly when there's a rain, and some of the slabs are not safe for occupation. I mean, we see it as a public building, and for young students of this kind, we shouldn't expose them to buildings that are weak, that cannot bear the load they impose on the building. We believe that some work can be done to put the building in shape, to restore it into its former glory, as it were, because it is not only the face of Bishop Herman College when you arrive on campus, it is also one of the biggest accommodation facilities on campus for students, and therefore it is just prudent that we renovate it.
Mr. Ofori fears the unfortunate might happen if the structure is not rehabilitated in earnest.
Being a civil engineer myself, I've done a structural check on the building. I think that it can be restored. I don't think that is that bad, but we shouldn't occupy it with the full load, as it were, that we used to do when we were here 30 years ago. Okay, so things have changed. Life has moved on. It's survived some stress over time. So let's restore the columns, cover the concrete iron rods properly, get the floors well tiled and cleaned, redo the roofing, and make sure that the roof is firm, and fix the building. Clean up the drainage around the building itself, and then we can occupy them with a minimal or nominal number of students as part of the accommodation systems on campus. So it is not only the 91, 93-year group. I'm told other year groups, as far back as 74-year groups, have made some efforts towards contributing towards the rehabilitation of the block.
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Bandu.
Now, it took a philanthropist intervention for children at the Zunayili community in Tolon to have a stint at formal education. Their joy was, however, short-lived when the philanthropist died before the 6 units classroom block was completed. Now, out of the 6, only 3 classrooms are partially manageable. Nearly 400 children have to battle for space on a daily basis to learn in the current structure. Head teacher of the Zunayili EA Primary School, Isahaku Abdul Karim, says the increasing number of enrollment is affecting academics because of limited space.
I'm Isahaku Abdul Karim, head teacher of Zunayili EA Primary School. Actually, I was posted to this school in 2019 as a new head of this school. So when I came here, I realized that the school was facing classrooms problems, and because the enrollment outweighed the classes that they were having, and I learned that one lady initiated this school, and government later took over the school. So that's the state of the school, and then the ladies decided to extend the pavilion over there. So that pavilion you see there was extended by that lady, and she molded some blocks to continue with the project, and later she passed on, and the community decided to step in and complete the project for the kids to be sitting in, because actually the limited classroom is affecting academic work. Because when you look at this school, the enrollment is overwhelming because it's 387 people and 3 classrooms. You can't manage it. Every classroom, 50 plus students, and there are going to be 2 classrooms in a classroom, 100 plus, it will not work.
For all your support and assistance, Momo transactions should go to 059-303-8832, Joy FM, or to the Access Bank account number 009-010-1054-191, Castle Road branch. The branch code is 009, and the SWIFT code is ABNGGHAC. You may also reach us at our front desk for further inquiries on the number 030-221-6540. Thank you so much in advance. And that's it for AM News, but the AM show continues right after this.
My name is Kujo Yankson. Let me tell you how to turn back time. You can now bring back all the fun, all the excitement, all the controversy of the Super Morning Show and all your favorite Joy shows when you go to myjoyonline.com/podcasts. Just select your favorite show and bring it all back again. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
It's radio, Joy 99.7.
All right, well, welcome. This is the newspaper review segment, but I'm super excited because my Israel is back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Hi, Izzy.
Yeah, I was a little under the weather yesterday.
Yes, you were. I was a little under the weather too because you were a little under the weather.
Oh.
So I'm so happy that you're back.
Yeah, and I'm happy to be back to get to see you again.
Yes, indeed. Are you going to do 11 minutes?
No, I'm not.
Are you sure?
No.
I think that you can do 11 minutes to make up for not being here yesterday.
No.
I think you can.
Let's see how much time it takes.
Okay.
Great. All right, so we're starting with the daily graphic. And on the front page, we're working towards 5% growth rate, the president assures. And the president says, in spite of the ravages of the COVID-19 pandemic, which have brought many economies to their knees, the government is working to attain 5% growth in domestic productivity. President Nana Dankwa, who gave the assurance, said pursuing that level of growth for the economy would enhance the prospects of a win-win environment for both the private sector and the country, and create an environment where companies did not just survive, but actually thrived. And he was speaking at the maiden annual investment summit dubbed Spark Up Summit in Accra yesterday. So there's so much more that he said, and you can get that on page 3 of the daily graphic. And then on the international page, Inside Africa, junta consolidates power, names military governments, and Doumbouya, who is the leader of that junta in Guinea, he states the reasons for the overthrow. So he says, announcing the military takeover, the 41-year-old former French legionnaire said the army had little choice because of the rampant corruption and disregard for human rights and economic mismanagement under President Alpha Conde. So that's their reason for the military takeover. In health, 2-decade-old wheelchair at International Health Care Center replaced. Dental Medical Council gets new board. And on page 16, lavish funerals banned in Agogo. The story reads, it is unacceptable that many people defy their poverty to stage lavish funerals, and Ananum will no longer tolerate that. Okay. So it's a good call. PNC disagreements deepening. Mahama lacks understanding of COVID-19 economy. That's the MPP, John Boydu, saying that yesterday at a news conference. He says he has no plan because he does not realize and accept that the COVID-19 pandemic has a fundamental impact on the economy. Then we move on to the stories. New regions, local infrastructure, Ojiahoho. New regions improving local infrastructure, that's Ojiahoho, JBB. And let's increase representation in Parliament in 2024. That's Hakman Uswajiman, the chairman of the Council of Elders of the New Patriotic Party. E-waste operators educated on access to finance. And NADMO backs roadmap, ending perennial flooding in northern Ghana. And ECG improves power supply to Obuasi environs. In the center spread, President refunds salary increment and directs executive office holders to do same. So Eugene Ahin, who addressed that news conference at Jubilee House, says, it is a modest contribution to reduce the damage to our public revenue and help hasten our nation's recovery from the ravages of the pandemic. So the story actually is that President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo has refunded 237,974 being increment on his emoluments for the period January to August this year to the pensions and salaries account of the Controller and Accountant General's Department, CAGD. So, and he has refunded that amount, and he's asking the Vice President and the other ministers and deputy ministers to also do same. So it's a nice gesture, right? But I would say that if we're curbing corruption, if we're retrieving funds that have been inappropriately paid out to people, it will do the country a lot more good. As for the president's salary, you know, if you have to give him an increment, yeah, we can give him an increment and get him to do the stuff that he has to do to save us from all the corruption in the system. SIGA urges SOEs to embrace good corporate governance and then follow best practices to attain meat sufficiency. That's Professor Tay. Court holds cement factory at McCarthy Hill. The story is on page 26. Apparently, there's been some back and forth with the residents, and it looks like the residents have won eventually. And COVID-19 patients assault doctor. That story has been making the rounds. I thought it was quite unfortunate. So a medical doctor attending to persons in a COVID-19 isolation center in Accra has been assaulted by 3 patients who tested positive to the virus. I mean, just because the doctor tells you that you tested positive for COVID-19, you have to assault him. That's so inappropriate. I hope they deal with them. Work progresses on Creative Arts Senior High School. And so it's a photo of how far they've gone with the work. One of the projects, the Daily Graphic says, is at an advanced stage. And Bobu 9193 donates computers to Alma Mater. So that's the Bishop Herman College in the Pando municipality. Rice factory opens at Sefri Akontombra. Education Minister indicts advisory board into office. Minister inaugurates PHDC board. And $1.5 billion cocoa loan arrives in October. So it says for the coming season, we are going in for $1.5 billion. We have already done the necessary syndication arrangements and are yet to sign. Hopefully by the middle of October, we should have the first tranche. My problem with this loan, syndicated loan that Cocoa Board keeps going in for anymore, is that we keep taking loans to buy cocoa that I feel that at some point, yes, we can take a loan at some point. But if we keep going in for the loans, it's just some level of inefficiency. I don't see any business that a business that goes to buy produce, sells the produce, and then
makes a profit, presumably puts some aside for capital.
And then you keep going for the loan. How does a business survive? And which bank will see a company that comes to it for a loan every time? Every year you're coming in for a loan to do the same kind of business. I think at some point you should wean yourself off that practice and set something aside so that you don't have to keep going in for a loan. I think at some point we need to stop this.
Yeah.
The Chuma Rural Bank opens a branch. And then carpenter charged for indecent assault on girl. 7. Achim Asene Citizens Abroad Donate to Health Center. Law School launches short calls for prosecution litigation. And revive business with stimulus packages. That's Reverend Kote. And let's get to sports. Ghana Athletics, Django Brothers signed 3-year deal. Ghana gas to invest in amateur boxing. NSA boss, OK's Warrior Stadium renovation. And on the back page, Pantang Hospital gets COVID-19 isolation center.
Oh, okay.
So it's an 18-bed COVID-19 isolation ward and treatment center meant for patients with psychiatric conditions has been inaugurated at the Pantang Hospital in Accra. The COVID-19 National Trust Fund funded the facility for 806,000 cedis, which enabled the hospital's management to renovate and equip Ward 8 at the hospital for the purpose. So it has a photo of Justice Sophia Kufu, the chairperson of the National COVID-19 Trust Fund, cutting the tape to open the new facility. I should have been there actually yesterday.
You should have.
Yeah, I should have. As a COVID-19
and a patron of the hospital.
COVID-19, National COVID-19 Trust Fund Ambassador. But I mean, this is great work. So this is monies that people have donated to the COVID-19 Trust Fund. And so people go to, institutions go to the fund and tell the fund that we would need support in these areas. So Pantang Hospital is one of those. And the COVID-19 Trust Fund gave 806,000. So if the National COVID-19 Trust Fund is giving out monies for these things to be done, it only means that they're depleting whatever funds that they have.
Yeah.
And so it is about time that we can have a lot more people, a lot more organizations donating to the fund So all the businesses out there, it's about time you give something, because indeed they're doing some good work with the monies that you've given to them. All right, so that'll be it for the Daily Graphic. How many minutes did I do?
About 10. So yeah, Israel is back. Anyways, let's go to the Ghanaian Times now. And on the front page of the Ghanaian Times, at Investment Forum, Ghana's FDI increases foreign deposit investment despite COVID-19. That's according to the president. OMF decries increasing killing of women by husbands. I'll bring you that story. Government determined to rid communities of refuse through IRCOPs. Oh, interesting. That's going to the sanitation minister. Okay, so court remands electricity thief. That's on page 3. 3 remanded in connection with murder of boys 13. Intensifies sensitization to need for peace and prevention of extremism. About 150 starved to death in Ethiopia. So 150 people have died of starvation in Ethiopia's war-hit Tigray region in August. Wow, these people had no food and practically died from hunger. Okay, so Taliban also announced new government for Afghanistan. Fire warning shots at protests in Kabul. And Justin Trudeau hit by stones on campaign. Canadian Prime Minister Justin has been hit by gravel thrown by protesters during a campaign stop. He was returning to his bus after visiting a brewery when he was pelted by gravel. Why would they pelt? Oh, that's so sad. Okay, so apparently he was hit on the shoulder. And he said these acts are absolutely unacceptable. Nobody should be doing their jobs under the threat of violence or acts that put them in danger. We absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, but what sort of security is surrounding the...
I mean, I'm sure even if there are people around you, on a certain level, I mean, if you aim and you throw a handful of gravel.
In Ghana.
What do you think will happen? I don't know.
Whoever threw the stone,
They'll catch them and beat them.
Beat you mercilessly right there and then.
Okay, so page 10, Mahama, Ghanaians must support the special prosecutor to succeed. Nation's challenges are not due to imperfect constitution. NPP congratulated on peaceful, successful confab. Okay. MPP challenges ex-president Mahama's economic record. This economic record thing just goes on and on and on between Vice President Baumia and Mahama, of course. Okay, so at Investment Forum, the Ghana's FDI increase despite COVID-19. President Nana Addo Dankwa has said that foreign direct investment opportunities in the country in the first term of his administration were estimated at $12 billion. All these things sound really good. They're just not translating into money in my pocket. So I don't know. Ministry of Health, sorry?
That's the thing.
Yeah. Ministry of Health courts media support for behavioral change. Okay, so they're calling on the media to promote behavioral change and encourage the adoption of healthy lifestyles among citizens for effective nation building. So there's that. Okay, so Ghana Water Company Limited to cut water supply to parts of the Greater Accra region from September 13th. This move is to enable the company's engineers to replace some faulty valves on the main 900-millimeter transmission pipelines. So there's that. Police ECG check illegal electricity theft in Kwabenya. Report sexual gender-based violence to right quarters. Okay. Saudi businesses asked to take advantage of AFTA opportunities in Ghana. And stakeholders must work together to deal with Galamsey. That's also in the Ghanaian Times. Okay, Cote d'Ivoire crack Cameroon. So Sebastian Haller scored twice in the opening half as host Cote d'Ivoire defeated Cameroon 2-1 at the Ouattara Stadium in Abidjan last night. So nice, okay. Ronaldo smashes United sale records as number 7 jersey causes media frenzy. Cristiano Ronaldo broke Manchester United's daily shared sale record in less than 4 hours after it was confirmed he would retain his iconic number 7 jersey. All right. Pele recovering after tumor operation. I was telling you about that yesterday. Mike Tyson too scared to fight Holyfield again. What's Mike Tyson even fighting in the first place? I don't know why he would want to do that. Akono blames Star defeat to Bafana on poor changes. Oh, really? Okay, Black Stars coach CK Akono pointed to poor substitutions for his side's 1-0 loss to South Africa. Is he not the one who made the substitutions, though? Okay, he's saying on hindsight, his substitutions may have shifted the balance of the game, handing the Bafana a late win. Oh, well. Anyways, on the back page of the Ghanaian Times, government determined to rid communities of refuse through IRCOPs. That's going to Sanitation Minister. Madam Cecilia Bradapa, she has stated that the completion of the integrated recycling and composting plants across the country will help to eliminate pockets of refuse that are often cited in the towns and cities. So you'll be able to go and dump your stuff somewhere to be recycled and all that. I think, though, is getting people to actually go to these points, because we do have dustbins around town, and people still drop, their stuff right by the dustbin. So, Greater Accra Minister takes campaign to 3 municipalities. Action man Henry Korte yesterday took his Let's Make Accra Work campaign to the Okankwe North, La, Dade Kotopon, and Lejokuku municipalities to ensure sanity in those areas. All right, okay. Well, that story is on the back page of the Ghanaian Times. You can grab it. And there's so much more in that. Okay. Israel?
Let's go to the Daily Dispatch, and there are 2 interesting stories, or there are 2 stories that are of interest to me. Early countdown to 2024 elections. If we lose, we have 2 headlines, or 4 headlines, on the front page of the Daily Dispatch. If we lose, one of them is, if we lose 2024, we will be in opposition for 12 years. That's Che Mensah Osei-Bonsu, the majority leader. And then right next to it, 2024 elections will be a do-or-die affair. That's former President John Mahama saying that. And let me just go straight to those stories. So I'll take the 2024 elections will be a do-or-die affair first. And I just want us to get this right. So the headline says 2024 elections will be a do-or-die affair. But the quote that's given to him, former President John Mahama, who was speaking on Techiman-based Akina FM, he says, "We have learned our lessons from happenings during the 2020 polls. The 2024 elections will be won or lost at the polling station. It will be do or die at the polling stations. The right thing must be done during the polls. We will win the elections at the polling station and won't wait for collation center results nor petition the Supreme Court if aggrieved." That's former President John Mahama. And then if NPP loses 2024, we'll be in a position for 12 years. So it says, "We said we want to break the 8, but brethren, if we do not unite, breaking the 8 will be impossible. We'll go into opposition for not less than 12 years. Breaking the 8 is not just about talking, but we need to work hard in order to achieve what we're wishing for." That's Che Mensah, majority leader. Also on the front page of the Daily Dispatch, ICOPS, or minute rubbish dumps in Ghana. That's the Sanitation Minister, Cecilia Bernard-Dapaah. And British TV star on his role in the £50 million Ghana Airbus scandal. That story is on pages 5 and 11. That will be for the Daily Dispatch.
Okay, moving straight into the Daily Guide this morning. Mahama scales up attacks, NPP fires back. Don't frustrate investors. Okay, so that's on the page. That's on page 3, the details of those stories. Let's do some international stories on page 5. Taliban announced new government for Afghanistan. ECOWAS heads meet today over Guinea coup. That story I brought you about the 150 people who died in Ethiopia from not eating. Ugandan MPs accused of masterminding murders. All those stories on page 5. And page 7, Asenso tours Neoplan and calls for its revival. The National Cathedral fundraising strategy has been unveiled. Prioritize illegal mining issues, Minister to RegSec. And okay, some entertainment. Cardi B and Offset welcome second baby. Kenyan lady falls for kiddie in Nairobi. Okay. If you Schwarzenegger and Aisha Modi go to town again over who looks beautiful. Right. Okay, well, good for them. Other stories: build stronger value chain systems. Okujeto lied about presidential jets. That's on page 11. Railway parts thieves warned. The thieves have been warned. How about catching them? I'm not sure how well warning thieves. I don't know what sort of effective strategy that's supposed to be. Anyways, let's see what else. Jupiter opens up on collaboration with Busy Signal. Oh, I love Busy Signal. On the back page, some sports. Young pitch invader faces ban for selfie with Depay. The fine has been cut from £300 to £86. Sack CK Akono now. That story here. Well, yesterday George Addo Jr. was also saying that he should be sacked because he is incompetent, basically. First Lady tells Hazakas ladies, "I'm here for you." Yeah, she says she doesn't watch much football, but she's gonna follow the Hazakas ladies and support them. So that's what I have in the Daily Guide.
Okay, I'll go to the Daily Statesman. Make things smooth for investors as president urging facilitating agencies. The president has also lauded Western North Minister over the One School Child, One Study Desk initiative. And MPP hits at Mahama over deliberate lies. Mahama declares election 2024 do or die affair. That story I've brought to you already. On the back page in sports, Euro 2020 racism file on 4 confronts Saka troll. And US Open 2021, Rogers expects death threats on social media after defeat by Raducanu. All right, so that'll be it for the Statesman for me.
Right.
So
Should we go into the...
Yeah, Major Online.
MajorOnline.com.
Prep that you could also look. Have you done the business of an Asian?
No, I haven't, but Major Online is up, so I'll quickly do that. Akufo-Addo refunds salary increments to state's chest. Okay. That's the headline there. Mahama and NDC can't intimidate MPP with do or die at polling station comment. Most job seekers don't pay attention to terms and conditions before accepting offers. Chemu SHS to refund 11,974. Asabi declares intention to contest an NPP chairmanship race. Akufo-Addo's poor economic management has contributed to high cost of living. That's according to Mahama. Will break the 80 years of unprecedented economic hardships. That's Ofosu Ampofu, to whom MP's driver rearrested after AG files motion to discontinue case at magistrate court. And Guinea's coup, Condé abandoned the constitution that brought him to power. That's according to Okujeto Ablakwa.
Indeed, that's what happened. He abandoned the constitution that brought him to power.
And
that's why a lot of people, I mean, ECOWAS and AU have come under quite a bit of bashing that, yes, you saw him, you tolerated Alpha Condé whilst he overthrew the constitution, and yet somebody has overthrown him, and you're making a lot of noise about it. And that they should have acted when he overthrew the constitution back then. All right. So that'll be it.
That's it. Yeah.
The news review, and up next we're bringing you the sports. But later on the show, we're talking about literacy, and it's World Literacy, International Literacy Day, and we're looking at how the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted teaching and learning in many Ghanaian schools. Well, not just Ghanaian schools, but across the world. We're focusing on Ghana and looking at why we didn't have systems in place to avert some of these things and what we can do to avoid these things going forward. And I'm also looking forward to that interesting conversation we're going to have about the Habitat Fair. We have the Habitat Fair coming up, the first mini clinic.
The what fair?
Habitat Fair.
Okay, Israel.
Okay, what did you hear?
No, it's the Habitat Fair.
Okay, so it's the EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair 2021.
Okay.
We're having the first of 3 mini clinics this weekend at the Achimoto Retail Center. But ahead of that, AM Business is looking at how much the truckload of chippings have gone up in recent
Yeah, you were saying so in the intro, that really gone up, really gone up.
Look at that, and
of course it's a chain reaction, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then it moves on.
And then Elegant Homes, apparently they have some mouth-watering discounts to give to their patrons. And so they'll be joining
Sounds
to tell
good.
us all about that. And then the Ghana Bar Association has a bar conference coming
This
up.
weekend.
It turns out that, the president,
Of the Ghana Bar Association.
the president of the Ghana Bar Association is not contesting. And going into it, they're looking at having e-voting and all of that.
Oh, interesting.
So that's interesting. But I would also want to pick his thoughts on several other things that's happening in the country.
Yes, I can tell that you're really looking forward to that
yes.
conversation. I shall happily observe. I shall happily observe you trying to cross-examine a lawyer. Something to look forward to.
Okay.
So we'll do all of that. But first, we have this break and then the sports. But don't go anywhere.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the AM Sports with me, Oreku Wampofo. We do start off with some local stories where the Ghana League Clubs Association, popularly known as GALCA, has introduced a new competition in women's football in Ghana called the First Ladies Cup. The competition is set to kick off on the 21st of November this year, and according to the chairman of the association, Kujo Fianu, the idea is to honor the First Lady, Rebecca Ekufuor, and also help take girls off the street.
As you are no doubt aware, the Women Legion of Football Clubs joined GALCA a couple of months ago. And we are talking about gender balance. And since we have a match that we play for the president every year, it is proper for us to fix something in there for the ladies. We are using this as a rallying point. Women football has a lot to do for Ghana. We also have a lot to do to push them. And you need to know the doors you need to open to get those push for women football. The women, when given the necessary support, will bring in laurels just as the men are also doing. It is on record that Black Queens, the senior female football team, qualified for the World Cup long before the Black Stars. We believe that a lot of our ladies that we see now as porters, we see in the traffic lights, hawking. We believe that if they are given the necessary push, we will be getting more of the Alberta Sakis, Ajabayo, and the rest. Football can take them off the streets. Who knows? We may get the next Black Queen coach coming from the ladies that I've spoken about. So we think that the First Lady, being the mother of the nation, we need to catch her attention for her to support women football. So we felt that there must be something. You don't go always in hand with pan in hand begging. You need to come up with some innovation so that will help draw the person's attention. And we think that if we honor her by playing a match where that day is going to be all women affair, we will bring in the girls' schools. We are thinking, depending on how successful this competition will be, try and bring our female or girl secondary schools together. For instance, Accra girls play Aburi girls. Aburi girls play Infantiman. Infantiman playing St. Mary's. So we are using this as a precursor to rally support for women football, build it from the grassroots.
Still on women's football, head coach of Azakis Ladies, Yusuf Basige, has vowed that his outfit will make Ghana proud in the CAF Women's Champions League. The treble winners would represent Ghana and Egypt, where the tournament will be staged.
It's ongoing because the task now is bigger than before, because these are champions all over the continent that are going to meet. So it means that the task ahead is bigger than before. And for that matter, we are working very hard, we are training very hard, because our objective is to raise the image of Ghana very high, to make Ghana very proud. Yeah, we want to go there and perform very well, because we don't want to put unnecessary pressure on us for saying we are going to win. And every member or every participant or competitor there is there to win. And for that matter, I will say that we are all there with one objective. However, we don't want to put that much pressure on us. And for that matter, we are going there with the aim of raising the image of Ghana very high, so that when we get to Kotoka, we will come out shoulder high and everybody will be happy with us.
To some more stories where Yao Preko, who's a former playing mate of Charles Akono, has told Joy Sports it would not be a good decision to sack the Black Stars coach after Ghana's abysmal performance in the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifier against South Africa on Monday. We do have details for you in the following Joy Sports report.
It's been 20 months since C.K. Akono was appointed as head coach of the Black Stars. It is the biggest job of his career, and as expected, he has been under immense scrutiny from the onset. Akono replaced under Fire Kwesi Appiah, a coach he was assistant to just months before. In a period of adversity, Ghana football had stooped to its lowest after failing to qualify for the 2018 World Cup and then subsequently being knocked out in the round of 16 stage of the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations. The country needed stability and a coach who had the vision to steer the Black Stars to the pinnacle of not just African football but world football. The short-term targets were to qualify for the 2021 AFCON and 2022 World Cup. So far, Akono has achieved the former, with the latter hanging in the balance after a painful defeat to South Africa. Many Ghanaians are calling for C.K. Akono's head, but his former playmate, Yao Preko, has jumped to his defense.
Sacking is too early. It's just 2 games. He has already qualified us to the World Cup, to the AFCON. And we just played 2 matches so why do we have to push the panic button? No, we have to take it easy. I know how everybody is feeling, that you sack him now, you bring another coach and you don't qualify. He will tell you his time is very short, and that you need to give him time. If he doesn't qualify, are you going to sack that one too? Then we'll end up sacking. Let's give him the support. Let's give him the benefit of that. We know he can do it. We have to believe in him. Sometimes when the bashing is too much, the person gets confused. Let's give him the backing, and with a good backing and a good support from all of us in these 2 matches against Zimbabwe. Let's go 100% on support on him, and I know he will deliver.
C.K. Akono's signature on the Black Stars is yet to be seen after almost 2 years in charge. However, Yao Preko believes the former Hearts-of-Oak and Asante Kotoko coach will build a formidable Black Stars team if he's given more time.
You can't take 4 or 5 days to have a signature. It takes time. And when I know C.K. can deliver is when the team is preparing for a tournament. And first to qualify for the tournament, then you build a team. Then you can have the cohesion, whatever that you want to implement, the system, how you want the team. You play it in the friendly matches. Then you can deliver. But coming for 3-4 days, and then after playing a game, you lose about 4 or 5 players for the next game. It's always difficult. You can't blame CK entirely for what is going on. But I know this is just the second game. When you look at it, you win your home and you lose away. Doesn't mean it's the end. Still have more games to go. Support him, and I know he will deliver.
Ghana's next assignment in the 2022 World Cup qualifiers is a tie against bottom-placed Zimbabwe on October 9.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or personality profile, it's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Now, government has raised concerns over the incessant increase in building materials, especially iron rods. As we build up to the JoyNews Habitat Fair, the housing fair, we tell the story of how a truckload of stones, which hitherto was going for 1,200 Ghana cedis and is now 2,500 cedis in just the space of 3 months. There's more in this report.
I want to find out from you exactly what's happening on the field. Have the cost of building materials gone up?
Yeah. Oh, right. Good day to the viewers. Yes, prices of material has recently gone up, and it's so astronomical that people are finding it difficult to continue their project, especially when we take the iron rod, for instance. In a space of 3 months, from November to now, it's close to 50%. And it has made a lot of people in the construction industry are set aback as to whether to continue their project or to hold on. If the prices will come down, then they continue.
Run us through from November.
Yes.
What was the cost of iron rods in November per ton?
Yes.
And as of now, what's the price?
Yes, in November, a ton was going for 3,500 cedis. And now, as we speak, it's 5,200 cedis, which is representing a price difference of close to 50%.
Yes.
That's 1,700 thereabout.
Yes.
And it's making people who use, we are more into conventional kinds of building, which use the blocks, the cement, the iron rods and all that. So it's difficult really controlling. So it has made some of the real estate people even a big problem for them to continue constructing for their clients. And some that are doing that are doing it reducing their gains. That because once you've signed a contract with somebody to build, it means that if it's gone up, he or she has already committed. So it means that you, the company, would have to find ways and means to go. And the disadvantage of this is that if you don't have a credible construction company, they will start cutting corners to still have the appreciable gains to the detriment of the client.
So how are you, for example, managing?
Yes.
This is your project, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. I may not be able to ask you how much you charged your clients, but within this past 3 months that you've had material prices go up, how are you going to strike that out of your profits or make it affect the construction?
Yes, as I said, if you want to be a credible construction company, you need to find a way to take the shock and doing quality work and still continue doing quality work for the client, because the client is not here. And at the end of it, it's integrity that plays a role. And you can't go back to a client once you've already had an undertaking that this is how much they're building, this is how much we're selling it. So it only goes to reduce your gains, and as a construction with proper management, material management and all that, you'll be able to overcome some of this. Yes.
Is the cost of the iron rods going up? Has it even affected the quality? You were just telling me that if increasing the price wasn't enough, the quality is also affected. Drive us through how that is.
Yes, the quality by way of the iron rods. Yes. Well, lately we've come to realize that even the standard length that we have has been reduced. At first, you have a standard length of 9 meters or 30 feet. And now you go and sometimes you measure and you have like 28, 6 inches or a little over 8 meter, 50 and all that. And even the sizes of iron rods has also reduced. So at the end of the day, if you consider all these, and you are, as a builder, you want to maximize your gains, you will be tempted to do some works that appreciable will not go down well over a long term. Yes.
You were also telling me that it's not just the iron rods.
Yes.
What else has gone up?
Well, the cost of cement, for instance, now also has gone up a bit, from 39 to like 42, 41, 50 pesos or 42. So, and when you come to the materials, in terms of fuel increment, those buying the coarse aggregate, the fine aggregate, they are all gone up. The coarse aggregate is the stones that we use for construction. Now, for instance, you could get one truckload, a 20 cubic for, let's say, 1,006, 1,007, and now it's over 2,000 cedis.
And all of this has happened within 3 months?
Yes, yes, and I'm just beginning to think that I'm hoping that it has no political connection, because just before the election, everything looks okay. After the election, then things are going up. So there's somebody who is supposed to be controlling, but
I want to still stay on the iron rods issue in relation to the standards falling.
Okay.
It's supposed to be the standards authorities' mandate to keep standards, isn't it?
Sure.
Are you satisfied with how there's a flip-flop, and is this going to affect the quality of your buildings?
Yes, I mean, there are two kinds of rods. We have the normal rod, the tensile, and the normal ones. And you realize that those doing that heavy, and the monopoly when it comes to the iron rods business is like, if I should go to, let's say, the factory, that I want to buy, like, say, 5 tons, which might be cheaper from there, but they will not sell to you, because they have agents. They will tell you 5 tons go, because somebody is making 100 tons, 200 tons. Why would you come for 5 tons? So, and they become like middlemen. So those are some of the things that really affect our work. It's really affecting our work, because if it's not some good companies around, most people will stop work till the government does something about it. Yes, because we all are looking at building affordable housing.
Yeah.
But once we keep doing that conventional type of buildings, then affordability, I think it's something that is...
So apart from this project, are you doing others within this enclave?
Oh yes, we have sections. We have this one, and we have the brick houses that we use the hydroform to do. It's the hydroform kind of brick houses. So we vary kinds of construction we do here. But this is what we are on it now. Yeah.
So how is this going to affect your 2021 as a contractor in dealing with clients, and are you going to revise even your contractual agreements?
Yes, supposedly it should be so, but looking at the COVID situation, and now that we are not in normal times, it's a bit difficult for people to even buy their own homes, because some people are out of job, some people have their monies locked up and all that. You know, the banking situation with some banks have closed and all that, and a lot of people have their monies locked up. So in effect, we, for instance, when we start building, we partner the client and say that, okay, you pay so much, and we give you some rebate in terms of time frame to pay.
Are you going to reduce the time frame now, because it looks like the prices are really changing?
Yeah, sure. I think we need to revisit that, because it has to, because if we are still pegged at the same and the prices are going up, I mean, very soon we might be out of business. So the client should also understand that if you are doing it by yourself, it's still not going to be cheaper you doing it by yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think that's basically what it is.
Thank you very much for coming on Brick and Mortar. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, so we'll be taking a look at exactly what's happening at the factories, and of course, the retailers that sell these building materials, and why this almost 50% jump in prices. My name is Odile Ntiamwa.
Yes, we are currently getting certain projects done. And I remember a particular one that had shortage in iron rod. And so they called me and I told them to go get some. And then the guy called me that said the price of the rods have gone up. I said by what margin? He said about 6 to 10% thereabout. But that was a small quantity, so I just told him go ahead and buy. Then 4 or 5 days later, he went again. Now we're buying much bulk, quantity for another project. Then he called me again and said the price has changed again. I said from what? He said no, now the increment is gone up. It's like 15% or that. But I said just 3-4 days. Then I also ordered cement from one of the known distributors of cement. Paid for it, and they told me that supply is in there's shortage in supply. And I went like, how come cement? So I called another supplier. He also told me the same because I was asking for a particular brand, but the other one had other brands, but I want that particular one. But I called 3 different sources, and I realized that cement was kind of short. It's either one particular brand is not here, or quantity-wise it's not there. So I got around because I happen to be serving on the National Committee for Portland Cement, monitoring committee. Okay. And so I quickly started making calls to my people, but all of them did not tell me that they have stopped production. And so they were also not too sure why my people were telling me that they didn't have cement. So I just stayed back, and unfortunately it took me about 3 days to finally receive the cement. But my people still claim that they haven't caused any shortage. Then suddenly, when it was ready for us to pick up the cement, now they are telling me that, say, the money you paid, you have to come and top up, and that there's an increment in the price. And I went like, how? First of all, I've paid you already. It is you who has delayed in supply. He said, no, when the supply finally came in, they were complaining that the manufacturers have increased their price. We used to buy it around 38 cedis, and then suddenly they are telling me it is 42. So that's 4 cedis per bag, that's increment. So yesterday, I saw a story by a private journalist publishing a story, and I think the story said that iron rods have gone up by about 40%. In fact, that was very shocking and alarming. My initial comment was that, was the journalist trying to say 4% and mistakenly wrote 40, okay? So I was very much alarmed. And between then and now, I've made several calls to our suppliers to find out what is happening, and they have given me some reasons.
Okay, can you run us through the reasons, at least 2 reasons why prices have gone up?
Well, World Literacy Day has been commemorated at a time the world is emerging from a pandemic which has impacted education across the globe, especially in developing countries. The COVID-19 and its associated school closures meant that Ghanaian children were out of school from March 2020 until January 2021, losing out on the hours of learning that the structured school system presents. According to UNICEF, 90% and 70% of the children in the 2nd and 4th grades in Ghana are unable to read simple words or solve basic arithmetic problems. A recent analysis by Save the Children and UNICEF forecasted that the economic fallout from the pandemic may push up to 24 million additional children living in sub-Saharan Africa into poverty, from 250 million children living in poor households to around 274 million children by the end of 2020. Today we bring the conversation home as we discuss how to end this. And joining me for the conversation is Andrew Ofosu-Denchi, Technical Program Manager for Education, World Vision Ghana, and Ethel Sakite, Regional Director, World Reader, West Africa. And thank you to you both for joining us for the conversation, Andrew and Ethel. So let's look at World Literacy Day, really, and how we typically will commemorate that in Ghana. I want to start with you, Andrew.
So this year we are celebrating the World Literacy Day under the theme Leveraging Digital Technology for Teaching and Learning, the case of the rural child. Right. During the pandemic, which started in March, you notice that majority of the children who are found in the rural communities were those who were the hardest hit, because the assistive learnings were not really reaching them.
Okay.
They didn't have opportunity to use digital devices or digital learning or e-learning platforms to improve. So within the 1 year or so that the children stayed at home, most of them had no access to learning at all.
Okay, so I mean, it's interesting that this has come up because, yes, nobody knew that COVID-19 was going to hit us, but then, yes, we were impacted by COVID-19. And if you're looking at the rural community versus the urban communities are more likely to have access to digital tools. And apart from the digital tools, internet access and all that, that enabled people to access e-learning services. But, well, we happen to have been hit by it. Ethel, your thoughts on what the situation is right now as far as the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, yeah, like you rightly said, the children in the rural communities were hard hit because they wouldn't have access to the technology that people in the urban communities would have, and data would be a challenge. But with the technology we use is accessible to people even in the rural communities.
Okay.
It's free of data charges, and it's easy to access on digital devices that they have. A lot of Ghanaians have mobile phones or tablets now, and we have put together a package that they can access on those devices wherever they are.
Okay. So before we come to the platforms that you're offering, I'm also interested in how this has impacted the teaching and learning. There's some statistics that we've made available, and we also understand that if you go into a typical school setting, the school setting, especially for people in rural communities and even urban communities, the school represents not just teaching and learning, but it's a haven, because otherwise then the kids are going about, idling about and getting themselves involved in so many vices. We're learning of how teenage pregnancy just shot up during the period that the schools were shut down. What is the situation, or what situation do we find ourselves in right now, Andrew?
Since school started, I think life is bouncing back to normal. But within the last 1 year, children had to suffer from having to be taken away from play. Play is what makes children happy. But because of the pandemic, they were advised not to get close to each other, not to engage in other plays that will help, that will allow them to contract the disease. They were not having access to learning. I mean, like I initially said, majority of them did not have access to learning at all. So within the 1 year, they were sitting at home, just lazing around. The teachers themselves were not also teaching. Some of them missed their children. Their children had no access to their teachers, and the fear of getting COVID-19 was very real, and it was something that really was hanging around their children like a fear. And so you can imagine the kind of childhood these kids had experienced in the last 1 year.
How significant is that? Because I feel that even though, yes, people were saying there was a lockdown and all that, the lockdown wasn't impacting on a lot of communities. So it impacted some communities, especially in the urban communities. But in the rural settings, who were you locking down? I believe the kids were going about playing as usual. I mean, nobody was going to stop the kids from playing. So playing in their homes, that was allowed. They just couldn't get into the schools.
Yeah, that could be true to a certain point. But the news all over, I mean, kids were listening to news everywhere. And they're telling them to be careful, don't play around with your friends because you can easily get COVID and all that. The perception of COVID itself is one big fear that hurt the children. Even though it wasn't, the lockdown was within Accra, but the perception of fear was all over the country. So you cannot rule that out. I mean, with children who don't have access to maybe counseling or comforting opportunities from their parents or caregivers to assure them that the COVID is real, but if you do this, you can be okay. but you have to, and each community has this hand washing through. So it's not even perception, it's what reality for the children that the COVID is really close to them and it can happen to anyone at any time.
Okay, so let's fast forward. Schools have been reopened and the kids get back to school, and it turns out that many of them are forgetting the stuff they were taught in the previous school year. How significant is that?
Well, I think it's very worrisome because...
Probably let me say, how widespread is that? Because I would want to, again, believe that those who had access to e-learning tools could keep up.
Yes.
But then in the rural communities, in the public school system, they didn't have such access.
Yeah. So that's what I said, it's quite worrisome because, as you rightly said, kids in urban communities, not even in the public school system, were able to continue learning of some sort. But then the kids in public schools and in the rural school system didn't have access to anything at all, and for which reason they lost most of the things that they had learned. So it means that we have taken a step back, and it's important that we accelerate the process of getting them back on track, because these are our future leaders, and if they've lost what they should have had, they've lost what they had learned over the past few years, then they can be pushed to how long can we, how easy would it be to continue the learning?
Yeah.
It means we've taken a step back, and it will definitely bother on a lot of things.
And catching up itself is going to be a challenge.
Yes.
Yeah, just adding to what Kezia just said. In 2015, Ghana conducted early grade reading assessment, and the result was that only 2% of our grade 2 children could read.
Okay.
Now,
only 2%.
2%.
That's really bad.
Yeah. And then about 50% could not even identify a single letter sound. Now, if these children who are struggling to read had to stay home 1 year and not doing anything, you can imagine the deficit in learning. So like the result you just read, UNICEF talking about poverty, these children would have to find their way back into where they left off. Yeah. Because already they were actually, and if a child cannot read, that child cannot learn. So for me, these children have had several years, they are several years behind, and they need to catch up. And that's where the problem is.
And we can also lose sight of the fact that there's some who may decide that they're not even continuing the schooling again.
Yeah, of course. Some did not show up at all. Yeah. Others also got pregnant and could not come back.
Even though, yes, others also got pregnant and they returned to the school.
Yeah.
So they're in school, but they're pregnant. And the school system allows them to continue to stay in school. Yeah. So we've had all these challenges, and we're having a conversation about how or what we need to do to position ourselves in a much better place, so that should we happen to find ourselves in another similar pandemic, we know how to go about it. What are some of the strategies we're looking at?
So this is why the celebration of the International Literacy Day in Ghana and today is very important. We are converging like minds. We contributed to government support to these schools during the pandemic to help children learn. Individually, the NGOs, we have done our best in selected communities. Our effort is not nationwide, but this webinar today is offering all NGOs who participated in one way or the other to support children with digital services to learn, to converge and begin to take stock of what we did and what we can continue to do, and leveraging on the technology which is more cost effective, like World Reader just mentioned. Anyway, she's Kezia, not Ethel. Okay. So what can we do so that we can, looking ahead, if there's a situation like this again, we know what to start from and how to support every child. We are not leaving any child behind. So this is why this celebration is very important today.
Okay, so what are some of the platforms, like we were talking about? World Reader is one of them, and how is it able to help?
So at World Reader, we have a BookSmart platform, which has a free version, which is open to everybody. who has a mobile phone or a tablet, you can just download that on your phone, or you can go to bbooksmart.com on your browser. So if you have a phone which is a feature phone and you have a browser on it, you can have access to our platform and read books, engage with children. And the good thing is that there are activities in these books. So you can engage the children with these activities to ascertain whether they really understand the reading you have done with them, and also to engage them. Activities are in form of play, they are in form of other forms of learning. So kids can have better retention of what they have learned through the books.
All right. Now let's get on to Zoom, and Peter Anti, who's Executive Director for Institute for African Education Studies, he joins us. Now, Peter, we've had quite a bit of the conversation already, but we still want to pick your thoughts on how the COVID-19 pandemic has actually impacted literacy skills, or the impartation of literacy skills and the level of literacy of our school kids.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, if you look at the various research works that have been done in respect of literacy skills in the world, it's clear that anytime there are school closures, students return with 30% loss in literacy and then 50% loss in numeracy. Now, in our part of the world, I mean sub-Saharan Africa, normally students return with 40 to 50% loss in literacy and then 50 to 60% loss in numeracy. It means that when you close schools, the likelihood that the students would not have the kind of literacy skills that they would normally get is high, and this is established empirically. So coming back from COVID, it means that we needed to put in place specific measures to ensure that the literacy level of our students, I mean, basically those in the basic level, is improved. And I was glad yesterday to hear that the Ministry of Education have launched a policy that seeks to ensure that the level of literacy among the peoples in the education sector is improved over the next I think 3 to 4 years. So that is basically what we have sought to do. I think we have to also try and look at this from different angles and various contributions from other people, because parents would have to play a specific role to ensure that the level of literacy of their wards is improved. Teachers would have to now try as much as possible to include various ways of ensuring that students also improve on their literacy level. And all of us, those of us in the stakeholders in the system, should also find ways and means to ensure that students are improving their level of literacy. So we need to be very strategic about this, because it's the foundation of our education sector. The ability of the student to read, understand, and then write is very key to the success of any educational system. And if we are not careful, those who are coming back into the school system, I mean, after this long break of long COVID break, we would not be able to help them recover in terms of their level of literacy.
So, Peter, how would you suggest we go about addressing this imbalance?
One, I've indicated that teachers have a very critical role to play. We need to understand that we should not leave the imbalance to only the English teacher or the language teachers. I'm thinking that other teachers should also come on board. There was a practice in some of the schools that I visited some years ago, where every teacher, before you start your lesson, you encourage your students to read a paragraph or a page of a reading book. I think this is something that we can try to implement in most of our public schools, that every teacher, before you start a lesson, you encourage your students to read a paragraph of a reading book. Again, parents should also play a role. Parents should encourage their wards to read more, to listen to educative programs. And the chunk of it lies with the Ministry of Education. And yesterday they launched a program, and we are hoping that that particular policy would help students who are struggling with literacy challenges catch up with those who are already doing well with their literacy issues. So these are ways that we'll be able to bring up the level of literacy in the country. I must say that if you study the data, even in Ghana specific, you would realize that the adult literacy rate is about 78%, and that is an improvement of about 7-point-something% from 2010. Now, if you compare the improvement from 2000 to 2010, it was about 13-point-something%. So you will see that even at the national level, we are increasing at a decreasing rate. It means that we are not doing so much well in terms of improving the total adult literacy rate in the country. And all these backs down to the nature of policies that we put in place to ensure that we improve the level of literacy in the country, not only at the basic level, but the entire population.
Mentions such as what World Reader has been talking about in trying to bridge this gap, and in fact looking at going forward, how these such interventions can help.
Please, the question again, I missed the first part.
I'm asking, what do you make of interventions such as what World Reader has been talking about, the platforms they are providing to seek to bridge that gap?
Okay, yeah, I didn't get the part of the Word Readers. I didn't get the interventions that they are.
All right, so maybe let me get Kezia to go over it. So Kezia, Peter would want to get to know how World Reader, the platforms that you're talking about, how it seeks to address some of the challenges we've identified.
Okay, so basically it's a device it's a platform on the most common technology we have available, and we know that a lot of people in Ghana now have access to mobile phones, even basic feature phones. So what it has put together...
So you don't need a smartphone?
No, you don't need a smartphone. If you have a feature phone that has a browser, you can go to bbooksmart.com and then you have access to...
Okay, browser would still mean that you need internet.
Yes.
That could be a challenge.
Yeah, but I'm coming there. So on our platforms, we have been zero-rated by Vodafone and MTN. So if you use either Vodafone or MTN, you can browse for free without any data at all when you go into our platforms to read.
So they go onto the platform, the website, you indicated the website, and they can browse for free. What are some of the resources available there?
Well, there are books, basically storybooks for children, relevant storybooks sourced from publishers all over the world, and essentially publishers in Ghana as well. These are books that the children can see themselves in. They are culturally diverse. They are categorized at their levels. So we have categories according to age, categories according to reading levels, and categories according to the strengths of the child. So, and there are activities attached to almost all these books. So that after the child reads, the parent or the caregiver or the teacher can engage the children with these activities to understand whether some learning has been done or some learning has been achieved.
All right. So I want to believe that, yes, not everybody would have access to even a feature phone, and probably all they have are young phones. But could we have people in the communities who could then take advantage of this and bring a few more children together to use that as an instruction material or instruction tool?
Yeah. So we work with libraries and organizations like World Vision and other partners to bring these technologies to communities. Right. So it's not necessarily about the home alone or the school alone, but there are libraries, there are other NGOs using the technologies and working with kids.
So how are you making that available?
So where they don't have access to these digital platforms, we work with the communities to use the community information centers, like the ones the Muslims used to call for prayer.
Okay.
So we have pre-recorded reading lessons where it's broadcasted to the whole community.
Oh, that's interesting.
The purpose is to assuage the fears of COVID and get the community, children, and everybody participating, because we already have reading clubs in the communities. So once these stories are broadcasted, every child, wherever they are, either cooking or supporting their parents, can understand, can hear the stories, and participate, usually go to the center and make comments, and their parents are also part of the storytelling process. And so it gets the whole entire communities engaged.
Yeah.
And so where they don't have these devices, they have access to this community information, which is broadcasted throughout the community. And that is what World Vision did during the pandemic. And it's the stories not only educate, but it also serves as entertainment for the communities and also bring the perception of fear of COVID really down to zero.
Okay, so for communities where you had these programs going, have you seen an improvement, or are they better off than communities where these interventions were not available?
Oh yes, the reading improvement has really gone up. And the children did not lose anything during the period because they still had access to some learning and information.
So this, I would want to believe, would tackle literacy skills, but not numeracy skills.
So the thing with some of the books we provide is that they are tackling both literacy and other lessons that the kids would learn in school. So we have books tackling language skills, numeracy, other fun learning concepts, science, nature, books on SDGs, varied topics, so that every aspect of their learning is covered.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me get to Peter now. So you've heard all the interventions that World Reader and World Vision they're putting together to make sure that we keep the kids updated as far as studies is concerned.
Yes, I think that is in line with the focus of the World Literacy Day, trying to bridge the digital divide and talking about digital literacy. Coincidentally, this is also what the standard-based curriculum focus on, digital literacy. So it's interesting that they are doing something like that. I have to state that I have had opportunity to evaluate the radio teaching that was done during the pandemic, and the results is a little bit disturbing, because it looks as if a lot of interest was not placed on it. And I mean the radio program that was conducted during the pandemic, a lot of focus was not placed on it, especially by the communities that were supposed to enjoy these radio programs. So I'm hoping that a lot of sensitization should be carried out by the group, so that they would continue to inform these communities about some of these things. We also realize that sometimes the times that these programs were broadcasted in some of the communities were the farming periods, farming time, and parents and then children were actually virtually nowhere to be found in terms of they listening to whatever program that was being played on the community radio station or the community center. So they would have to do a lot of sensitization and improve on the clubs that they are talking about. I think that is one of the best ways to ensure that these students have access to some sort of reading materials, so that we'll be able to improve on their literacy skills. But the issue of digital divide is big, is very, very huge in the country. Apart from that, access to internet is also a problem. Therefore, these other measures, I mean the radio programs, the community centers, and then the reading clubs, should be much more focused on than the internet. I mean the internet and then the technology ones, because in some of those communities, I mean in the rural areas, these other technological interventions might not function properly, but the groups, the reading clubs, the radio programs, and the community broadcast would be more functional. So that is what I would say. But all in all, we all have to come on board to ensure that we do not allow our kids to have that kind of gap in terms of their literacy and their numeracy, because those are the basic tenets of any educational system. And when we lose it, we are losing a whole lot in terms of the building the capacity of our children whilst they go through the education system. I also have to add that they should also plan about improving the adult literacy system, or including the adults into these kind of programs. We used to have the informal education unit or agency under the Ministry of Education. Now they call it complementary basic education or something. They seems not to be functioning more effectively, and we think that we have to also focus on that in order to improve adult literacy and all those things. Yeah.
All right, so let's get back into the studio, and I want to find out from you, Andrew, how are you celebrating World Literacy Day?
So today, in the next few hours, we are going to have a webinar. The link will be shared with you right after here, but you can find a link on World Vision Facebook page or social media handles. Okay. You can also find a World Reader.
So is it right now available
at 9:30? Yes. Currently,
the link will be there.
It's there.
All right. So if we could go to the World Vision Facebook page and see
or World Reader
Facebook page and see if the link is available, so we can share with our viewers. So that at 9:30, you're saying?
Yes, 9:30.
That's when it's going to go active.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And we have lined up a lot of activities. We have about 7 non-governmental organizations that implemented digital reading interventions during the COVID period, and they will showcase what they did, the impact, and then we will have a discussion time where we'll look at the synergies. How do we marry all these so that the Ghanaian child benefits immensely from these devices and these interventions?
And certainly some of the issues that Peter has been raising, which has to do with bringing the community or making the communities part of it and looking at the timing. So for instance, we had programs, radio programs at the time when it was during the farming season and the parents were not available so that they could bring their kids in. These are things that could be looked at again. So
this could be, for our programs, we didn't have issues with the timing. We did it in the evening where the parents are home. And then in terms of, Peter said the digital devices will not work in some, but the point is give people variety. There are still people in the community who use smartphones.
Right.
And mobile phone density in Ghana is very high. And so if a parent would want to have the digital device and read to their child, that's okay. So we want to give them a lot of menu to choose from. So we don't want to say, okay, it is just this or that, but there are several options that a parent can choose from.
Okay.
And the community is also largely engaged, because when we go into any community, we try to engage the chief of the community, the district assembly, the municipal assembly, bring them to a debate, down to the parents, make them understand what we are doing and understand the importance of what we are doing. So you find that parents are comfortable allowing their kids to go for a few hours, whether it's to a library or to a community center for a reading engagement or something. And we've seen these work in most of the communities that we've engaged.
Okay. So let's get, a friend, we have the link. So let's go to the Facebook page. Okay, so this is the World Vision World Reader International Literacy webinar. So it's leveraging digital technology for reaching and learning, teaching and learning during the COVID-19 crisis and beyond, the case of the rural learner. So it's from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and it's today 8 September.
So you log on to Zoom and then you put in the ID.
The ID.
You are connected.
Okay, great. So who is invited to the webinar and what are they to expect?
Everyone who has children at heart and everyone who believes reading should be the way to go to help our children develop and learn is invited.
All right. So Peter, are you joining the webinar?
Yeah, I will try and find some time and pass through. Yes, but I was trying to let them understand that they need to do a lot of community profiling because I'm a researcher. I do a lot of this work. I've evaluated the Ghana radio program that was implemented during the COVID period, and I'm sharing with them my findings. And I think that they need to do a lot of community profiling because some of the communities, some of these interventions never had an impact.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that intervention. But yes, he's going to be joining. So I was asking, what are they to expect when they join?
Well, to find ways of engaging children with regards to learning and using the technology that's available to us. They're going to hear from so many organizations, not World Reader alone, about what they are doing or what they have done during the COVID pandemic and what they are continuing to do to make sure that the 2% of children in P2 who are able to read are not the only ones who would benefit from literacy skills, that all the children can be brought together and also helped to build their literacy.
All right, so thank you very much for joining us for the this conversation on World Literacy Day. And I had Kezia Banyaga, who's a Content Acquisitions Manager, West Africa World Reader, and also had Andrew Ufosu Denchi, who's a Technical Program Manager for Education, World Vision Ghana. And we had on Zoom Peter Anti also joining us. Thank you all for your contributions. So that'll be it for this part of the conversation. But next up, we're having the conversation with the Ghana Bar Association, and turns out the president, Tony Forsing, has joined us right now. Good morning to you, Mr. Forsing.
Good morning, Israel.
All right, so it's good to be speaking with you after such a long time. How are you doing?
I'm all right.
All right.
Yes, those were my PR days.
I know. Okay, so we have the Bar Association conference coming up, and
yes.
One of the exciting things I'm learning is that you're going to be doing e-voting. Tell us a bit more about this one.
Yes, thank you, Israel. This year's Bar conference is unique in the sense that for the first time we have a virtual option and we have an in-person option, of course,
right,
due to the pandemic.
And by the way, this is the Bar conference that brings together all the lawyers in the country, including the president.
That's correct. And I'll use this opportunity to say thank you, because ever since he became president, he's graced our every Bar conference, and he will be in Bolga as well to speak to us. Now, I was saying that this year's conference is unique because for the first time, we are going to introduce e-voting, such that people who are unable to be at the conference will be able to vote from wherever they are in the world, not only Ghana, wherever they are in the world. And the intervention has been designed specifically for the Bar Association, such that you can vote from a PC, a YAM phone, iPhone, Android, any device. You will have access to vote. Now, it works this way. Everybody will be sent a one-time password called the OTP. And using your OTP, you can exercise your franchise. Once you cast your vote, either electronically or manually, there's no way, absolutely no way, that you can, switch and attempt to vote through the other means. It has been designed such that the moment you vote, the Electoral Commission will know that you voted electronically. So that if you are at Bolga and, for example, you vote from your hotel room and you turn up at the conference place and say that you've not voted, all the EC does is that it looks at the computer and it will tell you that you voted. It is that simple. And, the vision I had was that it should be speed with integrity.
All right. So it turns out that you are not contesting, you're not running.
No, I've done my time.
Okay, so who are the people who are contesting for president? Let's stick with the president, because I know there are several roles.
Yes. We have two candidates for the position of president. Mrs. Ifogati, who is the current president of Greater Accra, and Mr. Yaobuafo, who is the national secretary, current national secretary. There are two contestants.
All right. You haven't anointed anyone?
What power do I have?
No, in Ghana, we had a Swedru declaration. You haven't done any such thing.
No. Both candidates have their own strengths and their weaknesses, and I believe that the law fraternity is a close one, and that they've been around, they've campaigned and sent their messages, and I believe that everybody will exercise his private view.
All right.
Whatever he say really would not matter.
Now, having talked about the Bar Conference, then I want to look at the role of the Ghana Bar Association as we have it now. The Ghana Bar Association, as far as I remember, used to be this very vocal institution that spoke and shook the foundations of the country. And I mean, once the Bar Association took a position, people had to listen. I mean, people in authority had to listen. I'm talking about the revolutionary days and when we started our democracy. But it looks like in recent times, we don't hear that much from the Ghana Bar Association. Have you been caught up in this culture of silence too?
Absolutely not. In fact, the distinction lies in your own question. You say that in the revolutionary days.
All right.
In the democratic days.
Okay.
In the revolutionary days, you had no way of changing a government. In the revolutionary days, the people who were in authority had not been voted into authority. Right now, every government which comes is the government of the people of Ghana. Every policy that they make is subject to a referendum every 4 years. Every person has got the right to say that, look, this policy is not good. Therefore, the scenario has changed significantly. It is not the issue of somebody has taken a gun and come to power. The person in power has been voted into power. Therefore, that is a government of the people of Ghana. So you must be careful when you speak. All right? 2, the terrain has also changed. There are so many NGOs who are speaking to so many issues. So it is not the Bar Association alone. And most importantly, the Bar Association, even though it is a voluntary organization, is recognized in the Constitution of Ghana. And we are represented on many statutory boards and corporations. Therefore, what it means inferentially is that we have an input into policy. So every policy which comes out, or most policies which come out, have our input. So who will you be speaking against? Your own representatives or who? Therefore, you will see that we are very, very selective in what we say and when we say it, because the terrain has changed.
All right, the terrain has changed, and I feel that what we should be careful that we don't leave things to referendums through the elections every 4 years, because in between these 4-year terms, we tend to have a lot of things happening. For instance, there are calls for the sacking of the health minister because they say he broke several laws. And GBA, one would expect that GBA would speak to such an issue, for instance. I'm not sure we've heard the GBA speak about that.
Yes. We are running an executive presidency. And therefore, such a decision rests solely with the president. He appoints and he fires.
But if the GBA, if the Ghana Bar Association, for instance, spoke to the issue that, yes, they confirmed that laws were broken. We're talking about laws being broken. You've heard a number of your members speak to that. Martin Kpebu is one of those who took up this issue strongly. It would help, don't you think, if the Ghana Bar Association, as an association, also had its position about this?
I beg to differ, Israel. I beg to differ.
Why, though?
Individuals within the Ghana Bar Association are free to express their views on any national issue. And I believe that the matter went to Parliament. The Parliamentary Select Committee on the issue came out with their findings, and their findings are known to the presidency. Therefore, it does not lie with the Ghana Bar Association to instruct or direct the president what to do. I believe the facts and the conclusions which are laid before him by Parliament should speak to the issue.
But would you at least admit that some laws were broken?
It does not lie with me to admit. It lies with the findings of the committee. So if the committee found that laws were broken, then it means laws were broken until there's an appeal which sets aside those findings.
Now, finally, whilst I have you, I'd want us to speak about the Constitution. There are calls for Ghana to have a new Constitution. There are those who are saying that let's scrap the Constitution, let's do away with it, the 1992 Constitution entirely. There are those who say it's okay, let's amend them, some of the articles in the Constitution. And where do you stand, or where does the Ghana Bar Association stand? That is, if you have a position.
That is two questions rolled into one. I happen to have been the youngest member of the Consultative Assembly to write this Constitution.
All right.
That becomes my personal view. My personal view is that as we go along, if we find that provisions are not, working to the good of the country, definitely we go through the referendum procedure or the amendment procedure through Parliament. But I think that, yes, some provisions will have to be amended because they don't sit happily with current times. But I disagree that it should be scrapped altogether because I believe it has worked quite well for us as a country.
Now, since you say you were part of the consultative forum that put together the 1992 Constitution, I want to find out from you, there are those who were saying that we had a Constitution, or the 1992 Constitution was drafted or framed at a particular time in our history or in our democratic journey, and that it was done to take care of a military regime or a dictator, for lack of a better word. Now that we've had that taken care of and we've had political stability, we should be looking at a constitution that's going to bring us development. Would you say that when you're drafting the constitution, you had at the back of your mind that we should find a way of easing out the late President Jerry John Rawlings?
I would be lying if that was not part of the thinking at the time. I'll be lying to you. But having said that, I think that generally it was not done to suit one person as it was widely believed at the time. I disagree to that. But yes, our history as a country played a very significant role in some of the provisions which were put in the Constitution.
Yeah,
definitely. And I don't think that the Constitution could have been done in a vacuum. Definitely our history as a country played a significant part. But I don't think that it was done to suit one person. That which comes to mind readily, which everybody has spoken about, are the indemnity clauses. I was young then. I don't know whether some of the rumors we heard were true. But the point is that I believe that it was meant to hold the country together.
All right.
Probably those who were in leadership at the time had their own way of thinking and bringing forward some amendments and some provisions. But I believe that the intent of the whole thing was to put the country together and hold us together. And I believe it has held us together very well.
So we should look at it doing other things for us, such as bringing us development.
Of course, yes. But as for the question of development, I believe it behoves on all of us to put every government on its toes. It's all of us our duty. The president said when he was swearing in that we should be citizens and not spectators. So it behoves on all of us not to keep quiet. If there are developmental issues, I believe there's an organogram of authority through the district assemblies, the MCs. And one thing that I should say without mincing words is that people, kind of worship people in power. We put them there, and that should stop. We pay them, and that thinking should stop. Everybody thinks that, when you are in power, actually you are a servant. The Bible says that the greatest amongst you should be the servant.
Do you really think that our leaders see themselves as servants?
It is because we think they are not servants. But if we make them know that they are servants, they will behave like servants. I have no doubt.
We should let them see their true levels.
That's so.
And their real sizes.
The little experience I've had leading the Bar Association is that you are serving. And maybe luckily because we are not paid, it makes you think better.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Tony Forsing. Interesting conversation. And we could have gone on and on, but we do not have much time. But once again, the Bar Conference, you say, is coming up this weekend in Bolga.
Yes, it's starting on Monday.
Okay.
Of course, it's at Fountain Gate Chapel. We'll have the church service on Sunday for the National Executive. The President comes in on Monday. Then the conference theme, which will be delivered by Dr. Ali Nacha, is on taxation, mobilization of taxation for the purposes of national development, the role of the lawyer. That will be spoken to. It doesn't get any better than Dr. Ali Nacha.
Okay. And at that forum, we should remind our leaders that they are servants.
We should every day, even when we pray,
we
should pray that God will let them know that they are servants.
All right. Thank you very much, Tony Forsing, President of the Ghana Bar Association, for joining us for this conversation. You're still on the AM show. You have more coming up your way. Elegant Homes, they are talking about some really, really sumptuous deals that they have for their patrons for the upcoming Habitat Fair. They will be here to talk about all of that. Do stay tuned in. We'll be back in a bit.
We have an exciting weekend coming up because we have the first mini clinic of the EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair at the Achimoto Retail Center from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And even more exciting, today, Elegant Homes are joining us to talk about the mouth-watering discounts they will be dishing out to patrons. Dorothy Ifakwashi is the Executive Director of Elegant Homes and General Construction Limited, and she joins us in the studio to whet our appetites on what we can look forward to, and of course the discounts. And Israel is in a hurry to collect this conversation from
not
me.
To collect this conversation. I'm just
collect
excited.
him more.
No. I'm just
no, it's fine. Him more.
I'm just excited about the houses that they have. So I've been going through some of the photos. And Echo, I'd want you to put up some of the photos. Let's just look at the houses before we actually start the conversation. Because the kind of photos I'm seeing, really lovely, serene environments. And I've been pitching for, them to give people... Okay, so check this out. So a community like this, the roads are tarred. It's a lovely community. If you look at the houses that are in there itself, it should tell you that...
Beautiful green, the walls, the gates, the designs. It looks really nice. It looks very boulevardish. Yeah.
Bougie kind of neighborhood, the kind that Enuma lives in. Yeah, the kind that Enuma grew up in and lives in.
Okay, Israel. Okay, easy.
Okay.
Easy, yeah.
But these are lovely houses.
And they have garages as well.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. Question on everybody's mind. This is really nice. Price. Of course. Of course. So, Dorothy.
Yes.
Let's just hit them. The elephant in the room is always price, isn't it? What are your price brackets?
Normally, I don't mention my prices on air. Okay. Anytime I come here, you have to visit us, come to the fair, come let us show you what we have. And then based on that, you will know the price.
Show you what we have and what goes into it before you mention the price.
Because, for example, if I mention a 3-bedroom priced house, there are some 3-bedroom houses that we have that comes with a living, dining area, visitor's washroom. You have 2 bedrooms with a shared toilet and shower. You have the master bedroom en suite. You have 1-car garage. You have a 1-bedroom boys' quarters attached. So somebody's 3-bedroom may be just an ordinary 3-bedroom, but our 3-bedroom houses are really big. In fact, they can pass for 4-bedroom house for other people or 5. So you don't want to kind of confuse people. Come, watch the videos, talk to us, and then we'll give you our price ranges.
Okay, that sounds good. So what are the locations of these estates? You know, I think, yeah, basically, what are some of the locations?
Yeah, these lovely pictures that we saw as within our gated estate at Katamanso of the Adenta Dodowa Road.
Okay.
That is where those beautiful houses are located within our gated community.
Okay. Are they affordable? I know that you don't want to talk about price, but everybody who's watching, you know, who wants to come will definitely be thinking, is this something I can afford? Is this something that, you know, there's some financial structures in place? You know, is this, how flexible is it? You know? Yeah.
My dear, affordability is always relative. I always want to make a comparison. The price of a Land Cruiser Prado, the price of Fortuna, the price of V8 are all different, but they are all brands. So if you look at this environment, you should have something in mind. We have flexible payment terms for each and every one. You can either buy cash if you have it. You can also go in for mortgage. We deal with Republic Bank, Cal Bank, Societe Generale will be coming on board very soon. And probably our sponsor, EcoBank, will also be there. Aside the mortgage, we also have what we call the personal self-financing scheme, where clients can also come and talk to us about how they want to finance it. So whichever way you look at it, there's always a leeway for you to own a lovely home from Elegant Homes.
Right. Okay. Well, let's talk about your products and services. So this year, when we come to Ashimota Retail Service Center, sorry, what can we expect there? That's different. You know, what products and services will you be offering?
You should expect more than what you saw. We have different house types coming up. You should also expect nice designs from us. You know, we also fabricate and sell high-quality UPVC windows and doors.
Okay.
You should expect that. And also promotional discounts for Habitat Fair 2021. We're giving a 10% discount on our prices. We're also giving a free remote control gate and garage. We're giving a video doorbell and a fitted kitchen for our homes.
Right, okay, well that sounds very interesting.
The 10% sounds quite exciting. So
it does.
When you say 10%, you mean if a house is going for $100,000, you're knocking $10,000 off it?
Sure.
Yeah. Sure.
For real?
For real.
And then in addition, you're throwing in...
Yes, those things. So you get a full fitted kitchen. You get a remote control gate. The garage that you saw is a remote control as well. You get a video doorbell. Then you get a central ceiling speaker put in the home for you, where you can enjoy music in your home, in your kitchen, in your bedroom.
That sounds really good, doesn't it? Okay, well, sounds exciting. Did you want to ask anything before we let Dorothy?
If you ask me, I'd ask if the central speaker system is Bose.
What?
Bose.
Wow. Okay, lifestyles of the rich and famous. Anyway,
but that'd be so cool, actually. I mean, having a central speaker system.
I
see.
Fantastic. Okay, Israel. We are looking for the money to buy the house. We haven't thought about the central speaker system and hey, mini Sanepone. Anyway, so Dorothy, do you want to just share with us your final thoughts before you go, and then your contact as well?
Sure. I want to encourage everyone out there, if you're looking forward to own a home, please visit us this weekend at Achimota Retail Center. There will be lots to see. If you want to contact us before the fair, you can reach us on 0244 699 053, or 057-659-7419. You can also visit our website, www.eleganthomesgh.com, or send us an email at sales@eleganthomesgh.com. Elegant Homes, where quality meets value.
Where quality meets value.
They're showing us the quality. That doesn't come. The quality doesn't come cheap.
It doesn't.
But yes, I think it will be good to run your phone numbers by us again. Usually, when you say it the first time, people don't get to pick it, so you might want to repeat.
All right. You can contact us before, if you want to contact us before this weekend, before the fair. Our number is 0244-699-053 or 057-659-7419. These numbers are on WhatsApp. You can also visit our website, www.eleganthomesgh.com, or you can drop us a mail via sales@eleganthomesgh.com. See you on Saturday and Sunday at Achimota Retail Center.
Yeah, certainly. So it's this Saturday and Sunday, and we're inviting you to be there at the Achimota Retail Center. And it's going to go on from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. It's Saturday and Sunday. So you can come and see Dorothy and her team and all the other exhibitors that we're having coming on board. It's going to be exciting. You just come and see your eye off as far as the houses are.
And of course, you'll be hosting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said.
So yeah, I mean, it's something I'm also very much looking forward to, and the options that are available to people. You know, for those who don't have, cash to buy outright, and there are people who buy outright, right?
Not really.
Oh, really?
Most people
mortgage.
Most people mortgage, or they use other terms of payments.
Okay.
I haven't yet experienced somebody carrying loads of money
the way
to
you're
buy.
Ghana
Oh, really?
Oh,
No, because I know people who buy homes just like that.
Well, I haven't experienced that yet.
Please, we haven't experienced that.
We will see. Those people who are out there who carry money like this and buy homes, please come and buy some of them so that they will see that there are people like that. Yeah, but there are people who carry.
I know they are, but I haven't experienced it yet.
Okay, and they don't write checks too.
Oh, not full payment. I mean, somebody can, terms of payment.
So,
it can
be. Could it also be because when someone wants to buy one of your homes, they have to make a deposit for the house to be built for them?
No, we have some that you have to deposit, and then we have some that are readily available.
Really? So you have homes that are available that somebody
can walk in and then buy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good. And then there's some too that you deposit. Those are the ones that you want custom made for you.
Yes, the customized ones, you have to come in, tell us what you want, and then we'll design and build specifically to suit you.
For you. That sounds good.
So that is another option that one can look at. Or you can choose any of our designs and have it modified to suit you.
Okay. So that works for people who say they're not comfortable with the designs that people have, most of the real estate companies are building. So you can customize.
Sure.
You can tell them, maybe this bedroom is too big, reduce the size of this bedroom. You
want A, B, and C. Some
you want Bose speakers as your central
some want the high ceiling, and some can actually come with their own design to us. We look at it and then we can modify or build straight away for you.
One concern that most homeowners or prospective homeowners have is that they feel that the people, real estate companies, build because they want to make profit, and so they don't really take care of the quality, what goes into the buildings themselves. So they're moving, and after a short while, they start having defects.
It is yes and no. Yes and no, because people don't also actually want to pay realistic prices for houses. If you buy in a house which is $20,000, you don't expect a security door from Israel. You don't expect certain type of door locks.
Yeah, of course.
You get it. But that is unfortunately what people expect. That is per my experience. Because even with what you have, when you come, you have the options to choose your finishes. Aside what you give, you can decide that I want a particular, but it comes with a cost. So if you come and you want a standard product, after the standard, the person sees a Nimwa's house which is customized, and now try to compare. Meanwhile, it is different. It's different. Because, you know, with what we have, you can choose our design. So you can choose our 3-bedroom design and actually modify it. Maybe the person wants the floor plan to be modified, but not the exterior, the facade.
All right.
Now, so you see this house, the inside is different. It's only the exterior that looks like what we have. But when you enter, maybe the person has requested for marble and all that. The prices will not be the same. But unfortunately, that is what our people want. They want the best, but they want to pay less. And it doesn't happen anywhere.
Yeah.
When you buy a car, they give you the option. You have the executive one, you have the standard. You don't go and buy a standard car and expect that you have all the features. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work anywhere.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Well, if you want more details, more specific.
Look at it. Look at the windows.
Okay. I mean, look at the roof cry. It's just, it's very, very, it's not easy. It's not easy. But if you want all the details and you want to see all the options and speak to the experts.
It's very expensive.
Then you definitely need to be at Habitat Fair Clinic this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Well, does it come with, does it come with the curtains?
These are model houses.
Okay.
So the model houses are furnished tastes, and somebody can also come in and buy the model house.
Okay. Okay, great.
This is really nice.
So yeah,
modern.
so you have it. There you have it. If you feel like it, you can just take your money in your suitcases and go
Ghana
to
must go. Ghana must go.
Okay,
so
Ghana
carry
must
it in Ghana must go.
Ghana must go. Just go to Elegant Homes and just
come
go
to the Habitat Fair
Please
Clinic.
show Dorothy something small. That there are people who carry money in suitcases and buy out. Well, thank you very much, Dorothy. If you are Kwashi, who's the Executive Director of Elegant Homes and General Construction, they're going to be at the Habitat Fair in the Mini Clinic this Saturday. So do make a date, be there, and come see your eye top.
Indeed. We're taking a quick break. When we come back, IB is here with Showbiz.
And yes, Jackie is taking Africa just like that, because Tanzania is captured, Nigeria is captured, somewhere Senegal is also, and son of Mafiki Zolo Caesar, who had his album Listening here in the country, says Jackie is one of the musicians from Ghana that he likes, together with Black Sherif, Yautog, and Sarkodie. And it's because Jackie's Forever song is huge in South Africa.
Right. So, I mean, what do you think of our music scene here in Ghana?
It's really nice, man. Like the artists I've mentioned to you, man. I really love them. I'm still trying to understand the genre from Ghana and understand the music more. But yeah, man, I definitely love the music scene this side. Yeah.
And apart from Black Sherif, you mentioned Sarkodie as one of the musicians that have penetrated.
Yeah, I was with him actually 2 days ago.
Who? Sarkodie?
Yeah, we were at Elements, dope guy, man. Also maybe might do something with him, who knows, yeah, the Sarkodie, there's Black Sherif, Jaike, there's another rapper who's super good. The guy who did the collab with Stormzy.
Yautog.
Super dope people, super dope people. So,
how really do you get to know these people? I mean, is it that their sound is big in South Africa, or I mean, you find out about them through the power of social media?
Yeah, it's social media, and before I got here, I wanted to understand the people, the sounds, because I've always loved Ghana. So I was like, let me understand the mindset of people and what's actually happening, and that, Gaiki is kind of big back home, the Forever song is amazing and big. So yeah, man, that's the vibe.
from the beginning I saw this particular interview, I was a bit confused because I didn't know who he was talking about. He kept saying Gaiki, Gaiki. Well, let's still stay with music. And Kiki Benson, who was on the Showbiz A to Z marathon with George Quay, says a hit song is only a hit when the people listening to it says it is a hit.
So what I may find as good, well-written music may absolutely not make sense to somebody else. And like I said, a hit is only a hit when the listener says it's a hit. So this
a hit
where I
is a
stand
hit
on it.
when the listener says it's a hit.
It's a hit. Music is only good when the ear listening says it's good.
But Kiki, okay, let me come to the studio now. Yeah. Kiki's last statement was that. Okay, yeah, Kiki, okay, finish.
1 second. So without being technical, now when you want to be technical, music, good music, or appreciated music is a whole different ball game altogether. Then I'll come to what Zab and Uncle Ken are saying. Yes, I agree. Music must have certain elements, must have a certain structure, and so on and so forth. But unfortunately, in my view, currently, with music taken out of schools many years ago as a compulsory subject, the fundamental understanding of music, the technical side of music is missing. So we are in those times now.